we've actually got a monitor on my body which takes my heart rate, my skin temperature. It also looks at my breathing rate and also the G-force that's created. We're at the Cregner Bar now, so we've probably got about 2 or 3 miles run up before we start, and it's quite a nerve-wracking time waiting for the go-ahead to get going, really. Just heading off now, and we don't want to get too much heat in the engine, we don't want to get too much heat in the tyres, we don't want to get too much heat in the brakes, but we've got to get them warm and ready to go. So just snaking left and right, getting the car, or getting the feeling in the car pretty well so we're ready to go when we come across the grandstand. This really is my first reference to make sure everything feels okay. I'm happy with the brakes, I'm happy with the engine, because we're always making little alterations on the car with suspension, and one click on this course makes a big difference with the characteristics of how the suspension actually reacts, so it's a bit of a reference point now to get that. I think I actually prefer going flat out because you haven't got time to look at the trees and the walls around you, but on this slow warm-up period you can see all that, and obviously all the spectators around, which hopefully we're going to see in about 19 minutes when we go around there again. Circuit today, we'd had a bit of a look around earlier in the morning at slow speed. Conditions were really good, quite warm, no damp spots anywhere, so everything was looking pretty good to have a good run around the course. I think always a great atmosphere on senior day when you've got so many people out to watch, which is really the big race later on in the afternoon. Couple of thumbs up to marshals there and people we know. And now coming into the final part, adrenaline's probably going, heart rate's going a bit more. We've got one tight first gear corner, and pretty well from this point on we're on it now. So this really is the lap starting for me. Car bumping across the road there. I think temperature's pretty good. Another pull on the seatbelt as we head down to what I think is the scariest point, not just because of 2011, but Bray Hill. Probably 140 miles an hour just now as we've gone past the grandstand. 6th gear, maybe 150. 155, bit of a lift now, and then back on the power through the bottom of Bray Hill. The bikes take that flat out, but because our wheel is on the outside and after what happened in 11, I just have to be a little bit careful there. So braking nice and late into Quarter Bridge. Bit of lock up there and the car does push on a bit at the front, everything's a little bit tired. And now heading to Bradley Bridge. First real left-hand corner, good corner speed, and then back out. You can just see the boost gauge on the centre of the dash there. That's indicating the turbo pressure, which is pretty well at full pelt all the time unless we're actually lifting off. Flat out again all the way around here. Down 1 gear into 5th. Leave it in 5th now all the way because the next section's really fast. On the power early, car dives across the road and then heads up to Ballagary, or it's better known as Ballascary. This is where we all want another 100 horsepower, I'm sure the bikes do as well. Up the hill, and just at the top, on the crest, a little dab of the brake, turn in, and then full power all the way through. Now for the car, we're probably at our quickest point. We're flat out now for the next probably 2 minutes. good I didn't lift. Coming over the jump now. Just got to back off because otherwise the car hits the rev limiter and cuts the engine. So we lift off. And the car just nosed up at the front. I feel the air just get under the front, but it's not a big jump. So I think on the data we were showing now 168 miles an hour. Just coming into here. Down one gear, back on the power. Into fourth. And then full power all the way back through these bends. Grebe Castle, real nice corners. A lot of left and rights now. And just great conditions for the whole run so far. Really felt we had good corner speed here. You can hear the wheels just screeching a bit. And then we head on down to Ballycrane. Gorsley coming up, which just sticks out a fraction of a lift, and then the big problem now is getting our braking point right for Ballycrane. Because you've been going so fast, you're down to third gear, it feels like you nearly stopped. Back on the power early, and then back up. Onto Milky's corner. Just a hesitation there, power and through. Around this one now, I definitely carried more speed there than I did the previous runs. And what is hard to see on the actual video is the lack, or the actual crests, which are quite blind when you're in the car. Happy with that good speed. I'm just able to get right on the apex now before we go into the Glenmona section. Corner leads you in tight for the left, and then you can get onto the right early and get on the power early. Glen Helen 1 is flat, Glen Helen 2 definitely not. Subaru banner there, don't want to hit that one. Heading up the hill now, this is really steep. Again, hard to see visually from the camera. This right-hander, real nasty, and you just run wide into the lay-by. And now you're flat all the way down Cronker Body Straight. So you have a bit of a breather here. We can normally see the helicopter, which is always good. And one of those big sort of, I suppose, ballsy corners is the one at the end here. You just have a fraction of a lift to settle the car, back on the power. And through. Flat for the next right-hander. And then down one gear into fifth. Probably still about 110, 120 miles an hour. And then head onto this famous wall. Joey Dunlop apparently used to rub yellow paint on the right-hand side of the wall with his helmet. Again now, flat out section all the way to the top of Bagaro. Very similar corner to the one back earlier, and then with the TT course there's key points which you know you're flat for a while, then you've got maybe it's flat, maybe it's not, and this is another one. Just gotta have a little lift, little brake, and then back in on the power early. Car runs wide to the curb. Sixth gear again now, a big compression at the bottom of Bagaro. See the car move across the road. So it jumps across to the right. And then before you know it, you're into the 13th, which is a double right-hander, then into a double left-hander, which just tightens at the end. Again in fifth gear all the way around. And carrying good speed there. Now really picturesque coming into Kirkmichael. I've never done more than 30 before on a normal day, of course, and now we're about to do 150 at the end of it. Big long right-hander, you can just feel the car pushing to the houses. Yellow line on the left, back on the right, back on the left, and back on the power. Car goes light over here, into 5th. She slid quite a bit there actually. Jump over the crest, now again very, very fast. What's incredible is with the TT courses, the throttle trace, you're probably on full throttle probably 80% of the time. Just lifting to open the diff there to enable the car to turn in a bit better. Just run over the curb on the left, back in on the right, and power early. And now it's flat out all the way to Bluff Bridge. Again, very hard to get your braking point, you've got to get it down to 3rd gear. So you've been in 5th and 6th all the way to this point. Car takes off. And that was quite a nice landing, not too fast. At the time that felt like I was there for about 3 minutes, but obviously it was about half a second. Flat out now all the way to Quarry. Car really jumps quite well on this crest here. And again, I think we're carrying more speed here, gaining time, going into Quarry Bends. But you've got to be careful not to go in too fast and come out slower. So again, 6th gear all the way around there. Now we're flat to get a good exit all the way down to Sulby Street. All the way down now, this is where the speed trap is. I think here we're showing about 162 miles per hour. Sometimes sort of tab the brake a little bit to make sure the pads are all tight so you don't have a long pedal when you do eventually hit the brakes after the right-hander. Into 3rd gear. The car just cut out then, so we had to wait a fraction until it came back in. And now from here on, it's Ginger Hall to Ramsey is the bumpiest part of the whole TT course. You see the car moving around quite a bit more. And that flickering of the trees as well, the light coming in and out, makes it quite difficult. So you just got to try and remember the best you can the braking points, which we use the walls up here in a few hundred meters. So back on the power, down 1 gear, and this really comes up on you quick, down to 4th, in you go, and power. Now on the run in back into Ramsey, a lot of quite dodgy corners really, I'd say, and quite tricky if you get them wrong. Long right-hander here is really quick. Little lift, back on the power. This one's okay. And this one really leads you in and the curb just sticks out on the outside. I think we bounce around this right-hander now on the way into Ramsey, flat out. We don't really see it there on the camera. Last left-hander before Ramsey, just run a little bit wide into the bus stop. Over the line, and then really slow now back down into 2nd gear. Just coming out of Ramsey, this right-hander is quite a difficult corner. There's a bump on the entry and it sort of leads you in, so we had to go in quite steady to get a good exit. 4th gear still, down to 3rd now, cutting the left right over the pavement, car bounces across, and now we're starting to get onto the mountain climb. On the first 2 runs I've been quite happy up until this point, just a bit of a thumbs up there to the commentator, and I feel I could make good time over the mountain, so it was very important for me to concentrate on getting a better run over the mountain. Key corner now, third gear, wait, power, get the car out straight. All the time just see the car bouncing around quite a bit. Tighten the belts down and then up to the gooseneck, which is a very slow second gear bend. Car drifts wide on the left, brake hard, in and back on. You really feel like you're losing power now because it's quite steep up here. Use all the road on the left, just tuck her in on the right, and then back over to the bale. And these 3 lefts now at Guthrie's really come up fast. Just chuck it on the first one, still flat. Braking down into third. And again, making sure you use as much road as you can on the exit. Key corner there, because from now on we can relax a little bit before the mountain mile. Just a lift there and back up the mountain mile from here on. Good time to have a look at your gauges, make sure the temperatures aren't too hot, tighten your belts if you want to. Once you get to the top, you can start thinking about the attack all the way down the hill, which then puts a lot of pressure and heat into the brakes. From memory, I went a bit wide on here. The car just slid a bit sideways. There you go. Then back on it again. Big drop on the right hand side. It's okay for me because I'm in a left-hand drive car, so I can't see that. Now starting to get towards the veranda. Again, she's drifting quite wide there and sliding in 6th gear. Just in between gears there. It'd be nice to have a gear just in between 5th and 6th. Then we've got the Black Hut ahead before we go into the bungalow. Again, trying to get the power as early as we can to get good exit speed out of the corner. Very difficult this now, the long right into the bungalow. As you come in, there's a bit of a bump. Really hard to get the car straight, get it stopped, chuck it in left, and you can see we run right over the curb on the outside. And that was actually a little bit harder than I wanted to hit it. I was worried now that we may have damaged the tyre. So the next corner's a right-hander, so I can't really feel it. But I definitely don't want to get it wrong for the left-hander at the at Brandywell. Back into 4th, 5th, then 4th, chuck it in. And we're really starting to get on the run home to the grandstand now. Fifth gear, flat through these now, back on the power. Car jumps across a bit, and then down to Windy Corner. Just down 1 gear. Using all the road a bit more again on the outside. We're not a million miles away now from where we actually started at the Craignabile. This corner's always been difficult because you're going so fast and you've got a massive drop on the outside. 2 lefts, 6th gear, flat out around the second one. Coming to the top of Kate's now. Shell grip on the roads, you can go in a bit harder than you normally would. Good grip, but it zaps the power a bit. Had good speed around Kate's cottage here, just tipped her in there. And now down to the Craignabile. So I've actually done a lap at this point in my eyes, but I've got another 2 or 3 miles flat out to do to get the time. Just coming down the straight now, flat out, 6th gear coming into Brandish. Quite a new corner, still in 6th gear. Just turn into the left, use the grass on the inside. The car runs out to the outside. And then back on down to Hilbury. They've resurfaced it down here, there's a little bump on the inside and it really throws the car, so quite dodgy. So happy to get through that. And now the big left all the way round to Signpost Corner. Car moves around quite a bit round here. Just a little lift there, back into the left. And braking nice and early this time after having to use the handbrake on my previous run. On the power. Only a couple of corners left, but it would be very easy to throw it all away on the next 2 bends. Very easy to overshoot here. I think that's Bedstead, and then we're coming down into the Knock, which is the slowest corner of the course. 1st gear, nice and neat. The car straight, power, 2nd gear. Now we're flat out, car bounces across the road. Just waiting for the checkered flag. And there she is. And that's my lap of the TT course in 2014.